Hey everybody, Parallel here, and welcome to another episode in my kit module review series for Star Trek Online. In this series, I take a look at 3 ground kit modules, one for each career, so one tactical, one engineering, and one science. And I show how these kit modules are used in combat, so you can see the particle effects, and then also review their performance and give an overall rating. Typically my ratings are not a fixed number score, I just say whether I feel these are a good kit module or just mediocre. And if the kit module is mediocre, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means it's more, situational, depends on your playstyle, your build, and what type of content you're doing. Alright, so in this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at the 3 new kit modules that were released as part of the Risa Summer Event. And I do have a little bit of a bonus here, as I also want to take a look at a 4th kit module, that is the Fek'lhri Chaos Blaze kit module that was part of the Gamma Quadrant story arc. So it was actually sort of a random reward that was thrown into the Gamma Quadrant arc. It was actually the episode Doomed to Repeat. So if you play this episode, you will get that kit module as a reward. I will show that when I get to my science character towards the end of the video. Because first I want to look at the Summer Event kit modules. So I will start here with a tactical kit module, which is this one here. It is called the Magmatic Deployment. So we'll take a look at this and see how it performs. Now, we'll head out here into Kobali Prime and give it a test. And while I'm heading out there, if anyone is curious how to get your hands on these summer kit modules, you actually need to participate in the little mini games on Risa during the summer event that's going on right now. I believe it ends on August 16th. I better check. Yeah, August 16th. So by the time this video goes live, you only have a few more days left to farm up your lol nuts, which you get from the mini games, to be able to purchase these kit modules. While I'm running out here, I could show you. You go to your reputation store, go to your events, and go to the store there, and you can find all these kit modules in the summer event store. You can scroll down a little bit and you can see them. I believe they are 1,000 lol nuts each. Yep. So here are the new ones. So this is the engineering one, science one, and then the tactical one, Magmatic Deployment, which I'll be looking at right now. So yeah, if you do want to get your hands on any of these, make sure you do it in the next few days here before the event ends. Because once the event ends, you'll no longer be able to earn the lol nut favors, which is the event currency. You'll still have access to the store. You can still pull up the summer event store anytime as long as you've unlocked it by, just going to Risa and completing just that first little mini quest, that little intro quest when you get there. That will unlock the event store, but you can only earn the currency while the mini games are going on, during the event. So that ends on August 16th. All right, so let's take a look at this kit module here. Let's read the description. So this says, it is AoE fire damage, deploys a drone forward for 18 meters, creates 5 magmatic eruptions, which deal 300 fire damage and 24 fire damage every 0.5 seconds for 10 seconds. 46.2 second recharge, so that is a long recharge. Yes, in fact, I should mention, if you are familiar with this series, you probably know how I grade these kit modules, but the 3 criteria I look at are the first, how effective it is, so how much damage it does, if it's a damage power, how much healing it is for healing, and so on and so forth. If it's a crowd control power, how effective is that? So that is the first criteria. Second criteria I look at is the cooldown time, because that is a big factor. If it may be very powerful, but if it has a very long cooldown, then that limits its usefulness. And then finally, the third criteria, which is actually quite important, is the animation time. I think animation time is highly underrated as and how important it is, because being locked into an animation for 3 or 4 seconds can kill your DPS. So you definitely want to go with something with a nice short animation time, and I can't stand long animation time powers in this game, and there are quite a few of them. Alright, so those are the criteria used to grade them and judge whether it is in fact a quote-unquote good kit module. So let's see here, what should I swap out for this kit module? I'll go ahead and swap out Rally Cry. Alright, so there we go. And if you're wanting, I'll just quickly show my stats so you can see my kit performance is 185. I am also running the Technophile, which increases your kit performance. So it will go up a bit there when I'm actually using it in combat. Alright, so let's see how Magmatic deployment does. And we'll test it out here on some just regular minions, and then there's also a lieutenant over here. We'll test it out on him. Let's put my team on passive mode because I want to just test out the this module. So let's check the range here first. Doesn't really have a... It says it goes 18 meters. So we're right about, let's go to about 17 meters, see if we can hit this guy and the guy behind him. Whoa! Holy cow! Check that out. That is quite a particle effect. I was not expecting something that big. Okay. That pretty much floods your whole screen with magma. Wow, that is pretty cool. That is a very, very flashy effect. Although you definitely have to be careful that that will obscure your screen quite a bit. Alright, let's wait till it comes back here and take a look. Let's see if we can take out all 4 of these guys. Let's get this guy within... Well, if I get close, they might aggro. Let's wait till it's back up. So it did in fact kill the one target that it hit, at least initially. It looks like the initial hit is pretty decent damage, where the damage over time is pretty low, in fact. So let's get within 18 meters of this guy, and then let it go. Okay, it hit nobody. Apparently it is obscured by terrain. Wow, okay. So that is not good. Note to self, it is obscured by terrain. It looks like if... So yeah, if you're trying to hit someone on top of a hill or something like that, you are not going to be happy about it. Because it's going to just stop as soon as it hits a... Okay, I'm going to have to take these guys out. Because the recharge time on this is in fact quite long. Longer than I typically like to... Yeah, longer than I typically like, just because... Yeah, anything over like 40 seconds really is a pretty long cooldown time, so that will definitely factor into my rating here. Okay, this guy's on flat terrain. And these guys are on pretty flat terrain too. I want to see how it does first on the... if I can take out all 4 with a single blast here. So there you can see the damage over time. Well, holy cow, you can't see anything while that's going. Wow.
Enemy targets on center.
No, 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 no. That's not what I wanted to do. Didn't want to aggro this guy. Now let's just get rid of him. We'll give it one more try here while we're waiting for the recharge. Okay. Sorry, my auto fire was going a little crazy there. We still got another lieutenant over here. We'll give this one a try. See if we can even get through his shields. Yeah, so let's get right at about 17 meters and let it fly. The animation time is actually pretty fast. You're not actually locked into that animation. So as soon as you raise your arm and you go, you can actually continue moving. So it actually did not bad damage. It's pretty solid damage. Almost killed the lieutenant. Went all the way through the shield, and they stood in the effect the whole time. In fact, interestingly enough, I'll test this out one more time, but the damage over time effect doesn't seem to cause the AI to scatter. As most ground effects like exothermic induction field, damage over time ground effects usually cause the AI to scatter. So this guy, see how he's standing still over here? Let's go ahead and use it. Yeah, he's not... See, usually the AI would just run right out. They're running through it without...
Flanking damage detected.
Yeah, without scattering. Which is actually pretty interesting. That's actually does improve it a little bit. Since, you know, if you do have, you know, a group of enemies, they will stay in the damage over time effect. Okay.
Personal shield losing power.
I'm gonna try it again and just see if I can get it up here to go up this geometry or not. Maybe there's just some obstacle there that it was having problems with. And this time, let's go ahead and buff up a little bit here. See how much damage it does.
Flanking damage detected.
Yeah, it definitely hits the terrain and will not go up. Check that out. It hit the one guy about here, but will not go all the way up. Alright, so I think that's enough of this magmatic deployment. I think that's a good enough look. Pretty fancy particle effect. Very cool looking, although I have to say it does definitely obscure the screen, so if you actually want to see what's going on, it's not necessarily good for that. But, so yeah, final rating on this one. I have to say, the damage is definitely very solid. We'll take out almost a lieutenant, you know, if you buff it up even a little bit with some kit performance, debuff them with target optics and everything, I'm sure that would take out a lieutenant no problem. And I do like the fact that it doesn't make them, the AI, scatter when they're standing in the damage over time. That said, the damage over time is a little bit on the weak side. The initial hit is pretty strong, but the damage over time is pretty weak. So, and you know, factor into that the long refresh time of over 40 seconds, and the animation time is actually quite good. So, I think the worst thing about it is definitely the refresh time. That's what's kind of holding me back on this one. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, so that's my kind of overall review there. I would probably say this is just pretty mediocre just because, mostly due to the recharge time being so long. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't replace something in my build like a, you know, Graviton Spike. And speaking of Graviton Spike, if you are a tactical character and you have not picked up this ability, this is also another summer kit module, so you want to make sure you pick this one up, you know, while you still can. Because this is, in my opinion, the #1 tactical kit module in the game. By far. Graviton Spike is so amazing. Does incredible damage. It does more damage than that magma explosion. And it also has the crowd control of sucking all the enemies into the middle. And it has an instant animation time and a nice short recharge. So, yeah. Graviton Spike is one of the best tactical abilities in the game. Make sure you pick it up here during this summer event if you don't have it yet. But otherwise, I think the magmatic deployment looks like it could be a fun power. It's a good AoE power, but long recharge, and the yeah, also issues with terrain, and yeah, just some of those little issues there are holding it back from giving a full good rating. So just consider that one mediocre, but definitely very flashy. All right, so let's check out the engineering kit module here. Let me switch over to my engineer. All right, now the engineering kit module is called the Cyclonic Generator. Let's read this one here. Okay, it's a physical damage and hold. Okay, so some crowd control. Have to see how long that lasts. And it's a physical damage, so it will deploy a cyclonic generator for 30 seconds. Create cyclones in random directions. Already don't like that, the sound of that. To all foes within 3 meters of any cyclone. Pulls towards the cyclone, holds for 7 seconds, and does physical damage for 7 seconds. 115 damage per second for 7 seconds. It's okay damage, I guess. Not great. And also a 46-second recharge. So this is another long recharge power. Let's put my bridge officers in support mode here. And let's head out. We gotta equip it first. Let's see. I guess I will, for now, I will replace my gateway generator here. Alright. Now, the tactical power had a nice short animation time. The animation lock was only for a very short time while you lifted your arm, and then you were free to move around after that. I'm going to go ahead and run in here and use it. I think this is just a sort of like a turret that you drop down at your feet, so I'm going to go run in right next to them. Go ahead and use it, and then we'll check the animation time and whether it'll actually hit any of these guys. I don't really know how far these...
Enemy targets on sensors. Personal shield losing power.
Okay, it's hitting this guy. Let's see how the damage... lifts him up. That's pretty good. That is pretty funny. So it did hold him for a decent amount of time, but pretty mediocre damage at best. We got a long recharge time here.
Flanking damage detected. Personal shield losing power.
Let's go ahead and heal myself up a little bit here. And then when this comes back up, it did have a rather long animation time, although a pretty amusing one, where you kind of drop it on the ground and then kick it. But yeah, during this whole animation, until that kick is done, you can't do anything.
Enemy combatants in close proximity.
In fact, did I cancel it? I somehow canceled it. It didn't even come out. Wow, that's not good. So if you try moving as soon as the animation is done, you might accidentally cancel it. So that's even worse. Wow. Okay, let's see. Let's give this one more try here.
Shield losing power.
Let's see if it can even finish killing off some of these guys. How did that guy die? Oh, did my duplicate hit him? Apparently I failed something. Alright, here you go, guys. You're about to get cycloned. Here, have at thee. So you kick it. Yeah, so if you gotta wait for a few seconds to move. What's going on here? Did you see that? It just disappeared. So maybe I didn't cancel it? Maybe it just disappeared. Does this have something? Is it because I did it on an elevation again? Does he have have the same terrain type issues as the previous? Let's heal myself. Oh boy, yeah, long refresh time. It's already fairly buggy on terrain. Mediocre damage, long animation time, long recharge time. Not getting a very positive vibe from this one here. Okay, I'm just gonna let it go again here on flat ground. Hopefully it won't disappear. Something is going on. Am I moving?
Personal shield losing power.
So don't get much. No, even though I'm waiting even longer, is it because I'm moving that's canceling it? I waited until the animation was fully complete. Oh, there's someone else here. They might ruin my little experiment. Yep. Okay. I'll change channels here.
The base is clear. We can start the data download now.
I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and change over to a different channel here, because I want to give this another try here. It seems it keeps canceling itself. So yeah, this appears to be a very buggy kit module. It's canceling itself after I put it on the ground. Okay, let's put you guys back on passive. All right, here we go. One more try. Let's see if we can get these guys in here and not. Okay, I'm not gonna move. Okay, hit that guy. Hit that guy. It does send out quite a few.
Enemy targets on sensors.
Oh, and it does rehold them. Okay, if it actually hits two of them, it does rehold them, and then it will kill them, because they have to get held twice. It has a fairly decent duration as well. So other than the bugginess of somehow canceling it out if you move too early, once it's actually down and doing its thing, it seems to do okay. Because in that case, it did actually kill all 4 enemies. I mean, it took a long time to do it, but if they're hit by multiple tornadoes, then it will, in fact, get the job done as far as damage. Hello. Here, have some tornadoes. See? It canceled! Is it random? What am I doing wrong here? Okay. Gonna give this one more try here, guys, but I think this thing is incredibly buggy. It just unsummons itself randomly. So, yeah. I don't know if Cryptic is watching, but if you do happen to see this, Cryptic, I would definitely recommend you take a look at this Cyclonic Generator kit module. It is not either summoning correctly, or it's being cancelled somehow. It's not lasting its duration. Unless the enemy, it could be just the enemy was taking it out so quick. Maybe it doesn't have enough hit points. Is that what was going on there? I didn't see him actually target it though. Okay, I'm gonna place it over here and then not stand next to it. How about that? Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just his AoE was taking it out. Okay, he got held. Did not get held for very long. It's doing almost nothing to his shields. Okay, there, he got a hold on him. And that was it. Several of them hit him, and it did barely any damage. So, definitely not something to use on lieutenants or bosses. About the only use I could see for this would be in like a large crowd. It does send out quite a lot of tornadoes, so if you had a large crowd of weak enemies, it could help in that kind of a situation. But, yeah, I don't know if it was just buggy because it was unsummoning so quickly, or if the enemies were just targeting it so quickly. Like, literally the instant it was put down, it got instantly destroyed. I couldn't quite tell. But even granting, even if it does get put down and it, actually have some time to run its course, I don't think the effect is all that great. The damage is pretty paltry. The animation time is very long, and it has a long cooldown time. There's very little redeeming about this ability. Like I said, the only kind of situation I could see it is if there was a lot of small, weaker enemies and you need to hold them. Maybe if you were trying to defend a point against some weaker enemies, it might be useful in that situation, but that's too situational for my taste, so I'm going to have to definitely give this one a mediocre rating for sure. I mean, it's a pretty cool effect. It does send out quite a few tornadoes, which is why I think it would be, at least valuable if there are a lot of targets, because a lot of them would be hit by the volume of tornadoes being thrown out. But yeah, pretty mediocre one for sure. All right, so let's take a look at the science. Go over to my science character here. This one I was actually pretty interested in. I'm not actually sure what to expect from this one. It sounded kind of unique. All right, so the kit module here for science is the Virulent Dark Matter Cloud. Let's read this one. So it's an AoE, minus crit hit, minus damage resistance, that's good. Minus speed, not bad. So it has a snare and makes them more vulnerable to damage, that's always a good thing. So it creates a virulent dark matter cloud over the target. So for 20 seconds it has, minus 84 run speed, minus 27 all damage resistance rating, so that's pretty decent. Reduces target critical chance to 0. Okay. Spreads to foes within 2 meters of target affected in a 40-second recharge. It's a little bit shorter recharge, but so far all 3 of these kit modules have had a fairly long recharge. Usually, I would consider something with a short recharge would have to be 30 seconds or less, maybe even 20 seconds or less, which is where I like it, because then you're not waiting so long between each, between each pull to use your abilities. But this one sounds interesting. I wonder if it's kind of like the nanoprobe infestation, where it kind of goes from target to target. Because it says this one spreads to nearby targets for 15 seconds, and this one I think maybe works along the same lines. What should I swap out here? Let's go ahead and swap out hyperonic radiation, I guess. Yep, so we'll take a look at this one first, and then here I have lined up the Fek'Ihri Chaos Blaze, which I'm also interested in giving a test. Let's put my bridge officers on passive here. Alright, let's see what this one does, and let's see how far it spreads. Let's just start it on... Let's start on this guy here, and see if it spreads to anyone else. And I'm kind of curious what the particle effect is going to look like. Wow, instant animation. Instant. Very nice. So it does no damage at all. I don't see it bouncing. Do I have to actually kill the target for it to bounce?
Flanking damage detected.
It did not bounce. Spreads to foes within 2 meters of target affected. Okay, once I had this slotted here... Okay, it's actually doing minus... Oh no, wait, that's not from that. That's from my science ability. Okay. But yeah, it does do the minus... what is it? 24%? So yeah, minus 24% all damage resistance. Now let's just take out this guy. I want to get in a group again and see if I can get it to spread. But wow, that animation is like instantaneous. Very nice. Okay, you. What the? It doesn't even aggro? Huh? Is it spreading to anyone else? It's not. I don't see the debuff on anyone else. But it doesn't aggro. Wow. So it does, because it does actually 0 damage. Apparently it doesn't actually aggro the enemies. That's kind of cool. No, I think he saw me now, but let's go ahead and do it one more time. So, boom. Ah, that time we got some spread. I think maybe it only spreads on the initial burst, so it's a pretty close radius. Very interesting power. Has a pretty decent duration as well, so let's check it with these guys. These guys are nice and clumped up. Let's see if this will hit all of them. Because you could do some pretty crazy debuff with this. You put this on it. Yeah, it's only the initial. It doesn't like spread after the fact. It'll only spread that initial amount. But you throw on that, you throw on your sensor scan, you can get some pretty serious debuffs going on here. Very unique power. Very interesting. The AoE is a very short range though, so I think that's kind of the problem. But definitely a nice debuff power. So you throw this on them, throw sensor scan on them, do a cold fusion flash, do exothermic, and he's dead. Exothermic is so great. Cold fusion flash is so great. But yeah, you can really stack up the debuffs. So if you're looking for like a max debuff type build, I would say this is actually really good for that. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can get this to spread at all. Yeah, so it doesn't aggro. So it's kind of like tricorder scan. It's no, it just kind of puts that little debuff on him. Can I get this guy to run over next to it? If I line of sight over here, see if he like runs through it. No. Yeah, I don't. It definitely doesn't work like nanoprobe infestation. I think it is just like an AOE with like a 2-meter radius, so pretty small radius.
Flanking damage detected. Personal shield losing power.
Let's try it again. I'm gonna run over here, see if they will run next to each other. No, I can't get it to spread. I don't think it does. I think it's just an AoE. Just kind of an AoE solid debuff. It's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not a damage power if that's what you're looking for, but I could see this being used to pretty devastating effect if you have a nice tight group. I mean, you could throw this on them, throw sensor scan on them, cold fusion flash, and then yeah, and then completely destroy an entire area. So you could go like this.
Enemy targets on sensor.
Yeah, see, even that close is not hitting this guy. That's what I think is kind of the main disappointment here that I'm seeing. It just does not have a good AoE range. So I mean, if I were to sensor scan her, yeah. So pretty disappointing on the AoE portion of it. Probably use that in conjunction with like a paradox bomb, suck them all in, or like graviton spike if you have that on your like a tactical bridge officer if you're on a team. Suck them all in with that, then throw this on, give a nice AoE debuff to all of them. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to use exothermic induction field and see if the slowdown effect is enough to keep them within the range of that. Let's give that a try. Okay, they died instantly. Exothermic induction field is just too good.
Shield losing power.
Cold fusion flash is just excellent as well. Let me try it on the lieutenant when he respawns, and then we'll call it to looking at this one. All right. All right, here we go. A few more seconds. Pretty cool graphical effect as well. It doesn't actually travel to the target; just instantly appears right on them. So if I do that, and then exothermic, what do we got? Yeah, he's running really slow. He's trying to get out of it. He did make it out. He did make it out. That's why I also like to use piezoelectric lattice, because it also has a root effect. Keep them in your exothermic induction field, and keep them nicely grouped up if you're using hyperonic radiation, which is another power I typically use. Whoops. Okay, let's... Yeah. Okay, so I think that covers it for that power. It is an interesting effect, though, that it's an AoE snare. I think the only downfall is that it's such a small radius. Otherwise, I would say it's actually a really good power. With the, it's a nice run speed slow. It's got the nice debuff. It also spreads your other science debuffs, like your minus 40% all damage resistance from your science, from the trait. So let's go ahead and equip. I'm gonna actually equip. I want to equip both of these at the same time. I want to see how they work together. So I'm just gonna throw out my medical tricorder here. And let's try out Chaos Blaze. So Chaos Blaze, like I said, this is the kit module you get from the Gamma Quadrant episode, Doomed to Repeat. And this one, at first I thought this would be like sort of like an exothermic induction field that puts a little patch of fire on the ground. But it's not really just a damage power. It is... the damage on it is quite a bit less than exothermic induction field. But it does have a built-in Confuse, and Confuse is a pretty powerful form of crowd control. So it's kind of a mix, moderate damage plus crowd control type ability. So we'll give that a try when these guys respawn. It could be decently useful. And in fact, along with the Virulent Dark Matter Cloud, if you keep them slowed, and then if they're confused, they could fight each other. Let's see. First of all, let's just test it on its own so you can see the graphic, and let's test the animation time. Pretty long animation time. So did it actually confuse them because they're all still shooting me? I don't know that it did. The cooldown time is much shorter, so I like that. Where'd it go? Man, I don't know. Something is... I don't know if it's the terrain, but something is just canceling out my powers, like, randomly. Okay, let's try it on these guys. Pretty cool little animation. Definitely looks different, but I'm not seeing the confuse effect. Let's see if I can do this and then this. Okay, there they got confused. But that's definitely not lasting for 6.5 seconds. I mean, it's lasting for just a few seconds tops. Oh, they took out my bridge officer. Let's get you back up here. So yeah, the damage on it is definitely very low. So you're not going to be using this. I was kind of hoping it would be like exothermic induction field, but it's definitely not. It's its own little power here. Let's try this one again. I'm going to use them again. Virulent Dark Matter Cloud, and then the Chaos Blaze. And the chaos effect is just barely noticeable and only lasts for a few seconds. I'm liking the Virulent Dark Matter Cloud, though. It has a nice duration. Man, if it just had more of a radius, that would be a really good power. Let's try them together again on this guy. Thing with the Chaos Blaze, though, it does have a nice, very short cooldown time. He got his probe up really fast. I took out the probe. He is standing on it. It doesn't seem to have the same, fear effect that the exothermic induction field has. Because it does really have a short cooldown. Nope, someone came to help me. Let's use Chaos Blaze over here. Yeah, it confuses them for 2 seconds tops, 1 or 2 seconds, and then they're out of it. But the short cooldown time, so... But the damage is so much less than exothermic induction field.
We can start the data download.
Alright guys, I'm going to head over here. Let's give my final thoughts here. So, this one's a little bit tougher. You know, Chaos Blaze and the Virulent Dark Matter Cloud. Virulent Dark Matter Cloud is just shy of me giving it a really good recommendation. Like I said, the thing that's holding it back is the radius, but it has a really fast animation time that's instant. It's a really good debuff. It's AoE, gives the minus damage resistance, which is always great, and the minus speed, the snare effect is actually pretty good. If only hit, if it was more than like 2 meters, increase that up to maybe like 5 meters, then I would say, yeah, this power would be amazing. As it is right now, it's still pretty good. It has long duration. A little bit long on the cooldown time, but not horrible. Right around 30 seconds. Or 40 seconds, sorry. Yeah. So that's that one. And then Chaos Blaze. Yeah, I had high hopes for this one. I was hoping it would be like a second exothermic induction field. It just isn't. It doesn't have near the damage. It does do okay damage over time. It doesn't seem to cause the same terror effect where the enemy's AI will run out of it. But yeah, with the low damage and the Confuse, if the Confuse actually lasted 6.5 seconds, it might be decent. But as it stands right now, it only lasts for like 2 seconds tops, max. And so the effectiveness is pretty low, but it does have a really short cooldown time, which is nice. And the animation time is actually pretty long as well. It has the same animation, I believe, as Nanoprobe Induction Field. It has that long animation time where you lift that little panel, holographic panel up in front of your character. So it's pretty long. It's not just the little one where you tap your wrist. That's usually pretty fast. So pretty long animation time as well. So there we go, guys. That is my review of the 3 Summer kit modules and the Chaos Blaze kit module from the Gamma Quadrant story arc. Overall, I have to say, generally pretty mediocre. Nothing too amazing. They all have pretty cool graphical effects, that's for sure. But most of them have pretty long cooldown time and other issues that kind of hold them back from giving like a top recommendation. I think the closest one is definitely this Virulent Dark Matter Cloud, which had the potential to be a really good debuff power. Just that radius kind of holds it back. Chaos Blaze is it's kind of cool, but I can't see it replacing any of my main damage powers like Hyperonic Radiation, Exothermic, or Cold Fusion Flash. It just doesn't measure up to those, and the crowd control from the Confused isn't long enough to give it a full recommendation. But they are definitely interesting, so I could definitely see these being useful, depending on your play style. If you're going for like a maximum debuff build on your science character, definitely pick up Virulent Dark Matter Cloud. The engineering one, those cyclones, that was just way too random. I can't really see that being useful out of just some, outside of some very niche content. If you like the tactical one, I could see that being useful in some cases. Just the long refresh time kind of holds that one back. And with tactical, there's so many other good options. There's good grenades out there. So many good grenades. There's the micro torpedoes out there, and then graviton spike. I couldn't see it replacing any of those. But there we go, guys. That is my review of all of those kit modules. Hopefully this was helpful. If you at least give you an idea of whether you want to invest in these or not. If you want to spend the 1,000 Lolnuts each to get them, you will have to farm those up, and make sure you do that before the summer events on August 16th. And that pretty much covers it, guys. Just before I sign out here, I did want to mention one thing, because I was very excited to hear it, but I didn't really want to do a separate video on it or anything. But I just wanted to mention, I heard that there is going to be a new official Star Trek series with Jean-Luc Picard. That is insane. That is incredible. I'm very much looking forward to this. I heard it's actually going to be taking place in the time, like a later time in Picard's life. And yes, they are going to bring Patrick Stewart back. And it was confirmed. That is just, oh man, I can't say how excited I am for this series. Actually bringing Captain Picard back. I mean, if any of you guys know, if you've watched my videos, I am a massive TNG fan. TNG is the Star Trek that I grew up with, and it's my favorite Star Trek series of all time, bar none. I don't think any of the other series are as good as that one. I do like the other series, don't get me wrong, but that one just stands head and shoulders above the rest. The writing, The characters, everything in that series is classic and it's amazing. And Picard is one of the best captains, in Starfleet of all time. So I can't wait to see him coming back. So I'm just super excited, and this is what I wanted to see from a Star Trek series, right? I wanted to see a Star Trek series that is actually like a sequel, like a continuation. It's not some alternate timeline, it's not some prequel, it's not something in the past. No, this is a actual true continuation. It's gonna have Captain Picard, which right there is freaking awesome. So I just wanted to mention that, guys. We know very little about the series. There's only been a few tidbits of information that we know about it. All we know is that it's going to be have Patrick Stewart. It's going to have Captain Picard. It's going to be later on in his life, and that is freaking amazing. And I'm kind of curious to see how this would actually impact Star Trek Online. I'm not quite sure what the year it's going to be taking place in, but it could, if they have some storylines in that series that might actually, I wonder if Cryptic's going to have to go in and retcon some stuff in Star Trek Online, or if they will try to make it match up to the series, or what's going to happen there. I'm very curious, but like I said, I'm just very excited about that series, and that's about all we can say for now until we have more information. But yeah, Captain Picard is back. That is freaking awesome. Just one downside, I heard that it's going to be again locked behind CBS All Access. Oh, facepalm on that one. As you guys know, I've not seen Discovery, and the reason I have not seen Star Trek Discovery is because it's locked behind All Access, and I just don't want to subscribe to yet another streaming service, and just for one show, even though I love Star Trek. But yeah, if they have this Picard series and then also Discovery, then that might be enough to actually get me to subscribe to CBS All Access. Maybe for 1 month and binge watch it or something. But yeah, that's the downfall. But oh man, I'm so excited for that, guys. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I wasn't really going to make a separate video just about that, but just super excited to see an actual sequel / something that happens after the timeline of TNG and Discovery and Voyager and all of those series. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. All right, guys. So yep, that pretty much covers it. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.